Hey guys, Anish here, and as my class is up to lab chem, I thought it'd be fitting to go through what are the most common errors that you see in titrations. Now, titrations is a very perfectible topic, but there are common errors that I see year and year again, which kind of prevents students from reaching those perfect responses. First one is mole ratios, by far the most common. People don't write their equations out and they make an error somewhere in their process. They assume it's 1-to-1 and it's really just a simple 2-to-1. So you have to remember to write out your full equation, okay? Second is rinsing, not knowing how rinsing will affect your final values, whether it will lead to an overestimation, underestimation. These are common issues that I see time and time again. It's the very easy error. Just know what you use to rinse everything and work in a systematic approach to learn whether it's overestimate or underestimate. Don't rush it. Just think logically, right? Is it an over? Do I need more? Do I need less? And link that to over or underestimate. Third is not being able to point out experimental errors. A lot of titration questions are kind of embedded in an experimental design style question, where they can often ask you, what's an error that the student made? Now, students are usually not able to pick out the very easiest ones. And some of these errors are usually experimental, like rinsing errors, right? Not even being able to point out the rinsing errors. So I guess having a good exposure to past titration questions and having an understanding about what common errors you might see in those experiments. For example, thinking about, okay, rinsing might be an issue, but maybe another thing could be temperature. Maybe temperature wasn't controlled. Maybe the concentrations weren't actually the real concentrations, right? Maybe I didn't use a pure alicot. Maybe it was contaminated. All of these things are really, really nice to have in the back of your head, and they can help you solve these questions. The fourth thing that I see is not understanding the argument between a titrant versus alicot. Titrant is the thing that you know the concentration of, and alicot is what you're trying to deduce the concentration of. But people do struggle because sometimes there are cases where the titrant might not be in the burette, or it might be a bit of an unorthodox question style. So you want to always remember that titrant, known concentration, that's never changing. Alicot, unknown. And if you use that, that will really help you never make that mistake, because people can get confused and then that leads to those downstream errors. My last error that I see, guys, and this is the one that all of you guys will probably make, is sig figs. Please make sure that titration is a calculation style question. Pay attention to your sig figs, pay attention to what's the lowest number of sig figs, and just use that. Very quick note, 200 mils is counted as 3 sig figs. I know in conventional kind of mathematics, you will consider trailing zeros as non-significant. So 200 should be 1 sig fig, but VCA considers them to be a sig fig. So please remember 200 is 3, and you can look that up on the VCA website as well. Hopefully that helps, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.